All right. Welcome, everyone, to the meeting for the Greenville Noon Rotary. We're going to get started today with a prayer led by Brian.
Okay, please bow your heads. Lord, thank you for this day, this beautiful season we're in, for this good Rotary Club and all the good work we do and the great food. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. And the Pledge of Allegiance with Willie.
Let us face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I understand the psalm for today will be led by Carol Ann.
And I'm in the back.
All right.
I'm in this way.
Well, up to the front.
I love the on camera. Kitty.
You need to come out of your shell, Carol.
I know. That's what my New Year's resolution is. To come out of my shell. How about God Bless America today? Let me do the beginning, please. As the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us pledge allegiance to a land that's free, and be humbly grateful to this land so fair. Let us pledge our voices in a solemn prayer. Bum, bum, bum. God bless America. Are you singing bass? Land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. How about that?
Thank you very much. And we'll get started with, are there any visiting Rotarians today? All right.
Didn't scream though.
We do have a guest. I have a guest with me, Matt, from the County Extension Office. Some of you know that I recently was going through the Master Gardener program up at the Extension Office. And Matt is the guy that teaches the Master Gardener
The
program.
Master Gardener?
Exactly. He's the double Master Gardener. Or is it a PhD? I don't remember.
Gardino Supremo.
Welcome. I didn't know I was going to have a microphone. Glad to be here. We have at least one other Master Gardener here. I see Blythe over there.
Hey!
Yeah. But thank you, Frank, for inviting me.
All right. Any other guests? Okay. Next up, we have health and happiness.
Where'd that money come from, Robin?
For a couple of things that I have. One, it's been 10 years I'm celebrating my 10th birthday in my new life. From November the 30th to December the 12th, I was brought back to life 10 times with no, before after 2 silent heart attacks. So I'm very thankful. The moment they put that the defibrillator pacemaker, I never had any instance of atrial fibrillation, so I'm very thankful on that. That day at the Catholic was the day of the Virgin of Guadalupe. So we talk about miracles, I don't know, but something happened. The second is, what do I have in common with the new Miss Universe?
Not much.
Well, we were both born in Nicaragua. And second, she and I went to the same high school, elementary and high school. When I went, it was just all male. When she went, it was co-ed. Now, the interesting thing is this, when Nicaragua won that day, Saturday 19th, people in Nicaragua just went to the streets in thousands, and that has a dictatorship scare like hell, because they don't allow any demonstrations. And the third one is elections are coming, and this is my 7-year-old grandson's. I'm only 11 years until I can vote. Well, how old do I have to be president? My daughter said 35. So he said, okay, then I cannot wait to be 35, you know. I think deciding president is like March Madness. You have to keep beating people and then poof, you're a president.
And actually, an announcement. Yesterday, for the first time ever, the Brook Valley Homeowners Association organized a golf cart Christmas parade. It started by the pool, went on Oxford, Windsor, King George, back to Oxford in the pool. There were over 20 families in carts, couple walking, many of them decorated. It was quite spectacular.
Nice.
Move my way through here.
Since I had an extra $1, my wife ended up participating in that parade by accident. She's driving into the back entrance of the neighborhood on her way back from running some errands, and she pulls up and she sees the carts turning in front of her, and she's like, okay, cool, this is nice, I'll let them go by. And after like 5 or 6 carts come by, she looks down, and the next like 3 people are literally people walking their dogs in the parade. She's like, okay, I'm not waiting for them. So she pulls forward, and she's just in her car, right? With not a golf cart, no decorations or anything. And now they're just sort of parading down Oxford Road with everybody yelling and screaming, you know. And she was like, hello. She called me, she's like, there is some sort of parade going down Oxford Road. I was like, cut on your hazard lights, they'll think you're in. So 21 people in the...
Any other health and happiness?
All right, he's got it.
So I have a there's the list of announcements. Reminder, one more time, attendance out in the front entrance there. Like and share on Facebook, and the new website is at greenvillencrotary.com. So please take a look at each of those items. We have a update regarding the Rotary Foundation for December.
I understand there was a question on the matching points that the district was offering for Giving Tuesday, which was a week ago. And the question was, would it be extended? I don't know the answer to that from a district's point of view. As a matter of fact, normally it's only that day, sometimes to the end of the month, but I told Frank that we certainly can do it as a club. So if you'd like to make a contribution to the Rotary Foundation or the Peace Fellows program or polio, we will give you matching points from the club through the end of December.
Nice. And Rotary Day, the next one that we have coming up is going to be in January?
Yes, on January 29th. Our regular meeting will be a Rotary Day meeting. So since we're right now in the best restaurant in Greenville on Monday, that would be a very good day to bring a visitor. Because Frank tells me we're going to order more food than usual, so I hope that everybody will come and bring a guest.
What day was that again?
The 29th. January.
Chris,
All right. And wrapping up the announcements, we have Jack with the bell ringing and the limits.
Yeah, so I'm glad Blythe's here today so she can help me keep me straight with all my stuff again. But I'm just going to pass around the sign-up sheet for the bell ringing. Just look it over, remember your time. We have, when Javier is going to be there at noon, he could use a partner. And then we have nobody for the 7 o'clock right now. So I'm going to start that with Blythe and pass it around.
You need a
That
pen.
was my mistake.
Do you have a pen?
It's until 7.
6 to
I
7.
shouldn't have put 7 on.
Okay, so actually we just need one.
We need a pen.
Oh yeah, let's find a pen. I got to do, Blythe, you're supposed to be on top of these things. Yeah. And also, Miss Javier made ornaments, right? And we're Javier's saying for a $10 donation to the Rotary Club, we have 2 here, and if we get these 2 sold, we'll take orders for more. Is that correct?
Yep.
But they're limited edition.
Limited edition, 2023, personalized. Anybody want? I will take
No
one.
more than we can sell for $10 each.
I will take one, Javier. If someone wants the other one, let me know.
Anybody wants to order, let me know how many and we'll bring it next Monday.
So what bucket does that go in?
The $10?
All right. So, Mike, come on down.
Can I move around?
Oh, you want to share the mic? All right. So, one of the things that we were talking about with Rick as far as introductions and such, Mike is now a member of the Rotary Club. He'll give you a brief introduction with his talk today, but if you'd really like to get to know Mike, you should join him for lunch sometime.
I tell you what, I do love a great lunch. So any of you that would like to have lunch, just please let me know. Well, might take 2 or 3 months to get in, but I'd love to have lunch. Hey, thank you to the Rotary, first of all, for welcoming as part of your family here. And I look very much to being able to serve along with you moving forward. And then thank you for the opportunity to come speak to you today about my role as city manager and just kind of give an opportunity for you to get to know me and kind of my thoughts about the future moving forward for this great city that we live in. I can say right off the start that next to the marriage to my wife and the birth of my 2 children, that the greatest honor of my life is to serve for the city of Greenville, hands down. Whether it was ever in the form of being the city manager, the CFO, or whatever that role may have been, it is a pleasure and a true honor, one of the greatest honors, again, top 3 honors of my entire life, and it's something that I'll think about every single day when I work to serve the residents of this city. I never intended for any of this to happen, believe me, because ultimately I grew up in a very small community about 45 minutes from here in Martin County, and some of y'all might know Beargrass for it. So it's Deadwood, but other than that, it's a very small community that I grew up in. And honestly, when it came time to do things as a family, given the proximity that we were to Greenville, this is where my family came on the weekend. One of my youngest memories was being able just to walk through the Nichols on a Saturday. It's where I bought some of my first albums growing up. I still have the albums today that my mom and dad bought me at the Nichols. To go grocery shopping at the Kroger, where the PetSmart now is, and take those groceries back to Martin County. So this is where my family, it came. This is where we basically our second home, so to speak. So when I came to Greenville to go to college, I thought really I'd move to the big city, and this is where I got my education. Got my undergraduate degree from East Carolina in accounting. I graduated with a degree in accounting, and then got my master's degree from East Carolina in business administration, and that allowed me to become a CPA, which I've spent most of my career in the financial services realm. That's where I kind of cut my teeth, so to speak. So Rick has heard me say this before, but I want to just tell y'all the same thing. My wife and I, in many ways you could say we chose Greenville, but I like to think about it as sincerely as I mean it, is that Greenville chose us. because if I look at the fact of where I came from and what the opportunities Greenville has given me, it gave me a great education. The best education in the world. I don't think you could, I cannot say that I did not find a better education than what I received at East Carolina University. It also became a place where I found a job. Now, what I did with that job after I became employed was basically up to me. That drive to do better, to make the community better, was up to me, but it gave me that opportunity. And I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, it gave my children a great opportunity as well with the education that they received within their childhood. I got one that went to NC State. I tried. I don't know what happened. Just growing up in East Carolina, in his backyard, he wanted to go away. I think if he had to do it all over again, he probably would come back. He would have gone to ECU. But what did he study though? He studied accounting. Okay, and I've got a daughter who is a freshman at ECU, and guess what? She is studying it as well, accounting. And so I'm going to have a whole family full of accountants. But great, provided a great opportunity for my kids to be involved in athletic programs and in arts programs. My daughter is just the biggest dancer in the world, danced since she's 7 years old all the way through. This will be the first year, I think in the last 13, that I have not been to a nutcracker or having to go to a nutcracker and see my daughter dance. Actually, I was telling her last night that we got to get some tickets because this just isn't right. What is Christmas without the nutcracker? You know, and I reckon my purpose of saying that is that if Greenville can choose me, it can choose anybody. Because again, I've told everybody that I know, I'm not splitting any atoms. That is for sure. So this is a very special place that we call home. And sometimes I just don't think that many realize just how special of a place it is, given the fact that of all the amenities that we have as a community, but still that hometown sense that you have here in this community. It's just nothing like I think you can find anywhere else. So I'm super proud that not only did my family choose Greenville, but Greenville also chose me. Now moving forward as the city manager for the city of Greenville, I think right up first when you start talking about my vision of Greenville and where Greenville's to go, and I think in my career this might be the hardest thing for me to have understood is that, Michael, it's not always what you want. Okay, it's what's in the best interest of those that are serving this community, representing this community, and all of our citizens as a whole. And when you do answer to an elected body of 7, and you got 7 different bosses, my job is to provide them, guide staff, work with staff, to provide our elected officials the best information that they're going to need in order to make decisions for the best interest of everybody in this community. That is my number one goal. That's my number one job, is to be able to provide information to those that will ultimately be able to make those decisions for the benefit of everyone. But as a process of that, as a part of that, it is to provide guidance. Provide guidance to those that are elected to carry this city forward. And as someone who has a high respect for the budgeting process, because again, I told you, that's where I cut my teeth in the financial realm. I've always said, you put your money where your priorities are. So I just use that as a basis of saying, look where we spend our dollars, look what we're doing, we put the resources back into the community and allow myself and staff to be able to provide guidance to those that are making the decisions. If I look objectively at the future of the city of Greenville and the guidance that I hope to work with the city council in moving forward, again for the best interest of our community, what would I consider to be some of the top priorities? Well, first and foremost, it always starts with your core public services. Hands down, what are the core jobs of the city of Greenville? Well, first and foremost, it's public safety. Go back to that example about your priorities, a reflection of where you spend your dollars. I look at our $100 million general fund, and I see that over 50% of those dollars are going directly into public safety. That in the form of police officers and fire and rescue department. These are the individuals that we count on every single day to protect us behind the scenes. We don't know their names. Many of us, I mean, you don't know all their names. You know some officers, you know some paramedics. But behind the scenes, these are the individuals every single day putting their life on the line for all of you, for people they don't even know, that they will never know. But behind the scenes, they're doing everything they can to protect our community. That is our number one priority. It is the protection of our community and providing our employees the resources to do their job. Now, I'm not going to try to hide behind anything either, because many of you might have heard, I mean, there is a hard press on police officers this day and time in our world. Not just in the city of Greenville, but the countrywide. It's hard to be a police officer. There's a shortage of officers. The shortage of officers in the city of Greenville right now. And that collectively is what I've got to do, is continue to work with our police chief, with our leadership within the GPD, as well as with our council, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to continue to be able to attract the best employees, the best officers here to the city of Greenville to protect our community. And how's that done? Well, it's not easy in this environment that we live in. It's not. But nothing in life worth having is easy, okay? So ultimately, these are the rules the cards we've been dealt. We got to deal with it. I look at it as a three-pronged kind of situation here when we talk about police officers. It's making sure that we pay them really well. We provide them the training that they will need in order to do their job, and train and train and train and train and train. And when we get through training, we're going to train some more, because ultimately we got to put our officers in the best position to react correctly in every given situation. And there's a lot of scenarios out there, guys. I can tell you, millions of them. And these officers got to be able to react quick, not at a whim. They got to be able to react. We've got to continue to train and train and train in order to put them in the best position to make the best decision when that time to action is called. And then you got to provide them the equipment in order to do their job. And that's something that we also will have as a focus here with the City of Greenville. I'll look at this as at end of January, when our new council starts. We do have a new council that gets sworn in next week. And then once January comes here, we'll start with the likes of the planning session, the budget, and all that process. One of the first things that I'm going to be taking to our city council is a scenario plan to be able to do those three things that I just spoke to. We're working with the police chief right now, putting our package together, but to continue to put the city of Greenville in the best place that I can look at each one of you and say that we're doing everything we can to put this community safety first. So that's one thing. The next, when it comes to the core services of the city, you also got to look at infrastructure. Now, when I started with the city, I finished 8 years, I'm in my 9th year. We were putting approximately $500,000 a year into street resurfacing. Right now, we're putting $3 million a year. Still not enough. The cost of resurfacing a lane mile continues to go up and up. But I will say that continuing to focus on those infrastructure costs of our street resurfacing, street rebuilding, will continue to also be one of the top priorities of this city. I'd like to take it a step further than that, also to focus on more sidewalks. We need more sidewalks in this community. A lot of these sidewalks that we have planned for the future are tied up in the future NCDOT projects. But also, we got to be looking at all facets of our community to make sure that we're providing people safe transportation, safe pedestrian movement to the locations that they are moving to. So that will also be a priority. As Rick can tell you, a few years ago, we started a stormwater plan. Stormwater is matter of fact, I've been telling new council members, one of the most frustrating conversations you'll have is when people start calling you about stormwater issues. It's a deep issue. It really is. I mean, no pun intended. But ultimately, there's not an easy solution to some of these issues. But I can say we've implemented what we call a 4-year stormwater improvement plan that is providing a significant amount of funding on an annual basis to start to move forward these capital projects we have for stormwater. Over a 20-year period, The plan that we have, that we're moving into action right now, will fund probably about $50 million worth of projects. That is if we can get these interest rates and these cost of capital to work with us. It's been kind of tough 2 or 3 years as a result of the increase in the cost of capital and the inflation that we've seen, as well as the interest rates. But ultimately, we do have a plan, but it's all not going to be solved overnight. That's one of the most frustrating things that of having to work in the public and with public dollars, is the fact that nothing does happen overnight. But hey, we've got a plan. We can see down the road of how we're going to be able to make these improvements. So first and foremost, you've got to always make sure you got your core public services taken care of. But I also say another priority of mine, as well as I think of the city, would be to continue to enhance our economic development initiatives, to be able to continue to try to promote good jobs to this region, jobs that pay at or above the regional average, which is right about $47,000, the average median for an income. We want to continue to attract individuals to be able to enjoy all the amenities that we have here in the city of Greenville. And that requires us to be able to work collectively with our regional partners, specifically Pitt County, ENC Alliance, East Carolina University. Well, then we got to understand is we're not in this alone. Our job is to work together to move this region and move this community in the same direction. Got to all be rolling in the same direction. But then if you look at economic development, and one thing I will say that has been really awesome to see evolve over the last 8 years is that I believe many on City Council, and those are our leaders, those are the ones that get all the credit for the directions that we've gone in the last 10 years. They actually see that quality of life is economic development. Who is not excited about the 360-acre park that we have north of the river called Wildwood? I'm telling you, if y'all haven't been out there, it's a gem to see. You have all these primitive trails that are around the lake. We're having an extension over the canal that connects the lake to the river, taking us underneath 264. We have a contract out on the street, a bid on the street right now that will provide the connection back from the west side of Wildwood back over to River Park North. We'll have a good 7 miles worth of primitive trail over in that location. We have a mountain bike trail, another 5 miles worth of mountain bike trail over there. A pump track for those that love the extreme sports, which you're not going to find me on a bicycle, I can assure you, going up and down a ramp. But there are individuals out there that do. And you'll see a part of this community that you would swear you were in the mountains. You say, this cannot be Greenville. We have that here in our backyard. We have just now tapped that. And this will be an amenity not only for the betterment of each one's health, but it'll also be something that we can promote to the region to bring individuals in here to Greenville and to Pitt County to take a look at the great primitive properties that we have that embraces our Tar River. Because that's what our goal is to take everything that's great and natural about that Tar River and the properties that surround it and open it up to the community. Who is not excited about that? I'm excited about that. I know I'm a little bit biased, but I am excited about that. That's quality of life right there. If I'm looking to attract a business where I'm locating my business here in the city of Greenville, first thing I'm going to say is what kind of education do I have and what kind of opportunities do I have for my employees to live a successful and happy life and to raise a family. That's one thing. We also have this beautiful park down there on the town common. Sacred property. We love it. It's our gathering place as a community. And we want to continue to accentuate that. First and foremost, it takes that infrastructure I spoke of earlier. Another priority of mine will be to be able to make sure that we can replace that bulkhead. That bulkhead's over 50 years old. It's got weak spots in it. And we want to have that as a boardwalk that all generations moving forward can enjoy. At some point in time, we're going to have to find a way to make that happen. We are in the final phases of being able to design that, of the design phase, and hopefully can work to secure all the funding that we would need in order to make that to make that rebuild of that bulkhead. We want to continue to accentuate the types of events that we can have on our town common, the types of concerts, festivals that we can have. Again, a place that everybody in this community feels welcome, that they can be a part of. Now, I know a lot of you have heard about a Coastal Plain League baseball team that's going to be coming here to Greenville. Also excited about that. But I could talk to you about any given one project and know that it's more about that project. It's creating a mindset where we are moving forward with initiatives to create the type of environment that people will continue to reach out to, that you want to be a part of. You want to be a part of this community because we know, as people that live here, just how special our community is. We want to make sure that we are providing those types of amenities, programming that will let everybody else see just how welcoming and exciting it is here in the city of Greenville. Now, one thing that I have not talked about is all of this, which I believe to me is the most important piece, is partnerships. We can't do this alone. It takes a community to be able to come together, all facets of our community, to be able to move such initiatives forward and priorities. And it starts right there at the top. If you look, I was just having a meeting with the Chancellor's office this morning at ECU, as well as the county manager. And what we were talking about, we talked about all kinds of things, but what we were talking about this morning is just the fact that 60% of the properties down here on 1st Street and along in the downtown area are owned by the city, the county, and ECU. Shouldn't we, if we're ever going to be doing anything with those properties and looking at some creative ways to enhance our urban core, should we not be working together? That's not to say that one group is telling the other what to do. Believe me, as being someone who works within the city of Greenville, I understand how difficult it is just for the city sometimes to be on the same page with each other, much less when you try to pull different organizations together. But looking to work together to make sure that everyone is on the same page with land use, with special events, travel and tourism opportunities. This is what's going to put the city of Greenville in the best light to be able to work with our delegations at the state level, as well as each one of our elected bodies, in order to be able to move projects forward. And then finally, one thing I'll finish on is the greatest honor is to work for the city of Greenville. I would say that right beside that, of equal importance, is to be the one that gets to work with our staff, the 750 individuals that, again, do everything they can to serve this community. 750 employees at the city of Greenville that have dedicated their lives to serving all of us, behind the scenes, out of sight, out of mind, but knowing that they're doing everything they can to protect and move this city forward. That is also the greatest honors in life, is to be able to work with and supervise the employees of this city, and just know that they are the ones out there that deserve all the credit for a lot of what goes on in this city, because again, they're giving it their all. And my job will be to continue to work with them, to guide them, to be able to move forward the city council's goals and objectives. Now, we do have, again, I spoke of this earlier, new council gets sworn in next week. And then in the month of January, what the city council has at the end of January is a planning retreat. And this is usually a day-and-a-half period where council will come together and establish its goals and priorities. This is where I look forward to being able to work with the newly elected city council to take an objective look at where we are as a city, the goals that we have accomplished over the last 2 years, and to use those as the basis for being able to move forward the new set of goals and priorities for the next 2-year period. Once they work together to formulate the vision moving forward, that's where as the city manager, I will get to work with those employees, those 750 great employees to be able to move forward the goals and priorities and objectives of this city council. And there, again, is not a greater honor in this life than to be able to be in that position to do so. So I hope I didn't ramble too much, but if anyone would have any questions, I'd be glad. I'll be the first one to say I don't always have the answers, but if I don't have it, I'll get them for you.
And I want to say to you, we have got a great police chief in Ted Solomon. You know, anybody that knows him, you've seen his reaction and how he deals with his officers and things. He's just doing a great job. And I don't mean this in a negative way, but I want to ask you this question. About 5 years ago, Greenville was the #1 in North Carolina for accidents per capita. And I know a lot of that's because of the retired people here and students and that. How are we doing on that? Have we improved on that? Because I had a couple of customers that actually, you know, brought that up, and we're talking about you got a college town here, and you know how, and like in Wilmington, people have moved to Greenville from Wilmington because of the traffic, and the accidents are it's so tight there, and it's just, you know, expensive to live there and tight. Have we made any progress on that?
Well, what we continue to do is work to have these crosswalks. I don't know if you, last time you went down Evans, maybe right there, right around where the Family Dollar is, maybe you noticed that we got a new signal right there.
Yeah.
Those a perfect example of working with the NCDOT, because a lot of these are state streets, not all of them, but many of them are, to put together these signals crosswalks where we can control the flow of traffic. It is something that we continue to have to deal with because ultimately I see it every day. I usually, between 7 and 8 every morning, I try to find a route of the city just to ride around, just to check things out. All I'm doing is just riding down the road, looking at the side of the street, seeing what's going on, and just kind of taking notes that I can go back and talk to staff about. And usually, many times, I find myself going down Memorial. And it's one of the more challenging things is that no matter how many crosswalks you got at the intersection, people always choose the shortest distance between 2 points, a straight line. So when I was meeting with the director of the Housing Authority last week, now, to answer your question, yes, we continue traffic calming, we continue the crosswalks, all that. I mean, that we'll continue to do that. As we'll also concentrate on traffic enforcement, speeding, things like that. Those are all great things to be able to cut down. But sometimes it's a little bit even more basic than that. When I was talking to the new director of the Housing Authority last week, I said, look, man, if I were to have staff put together a flyer that talked about crossing at the crosswalk and the danger of walking across the street, could our staff work together to go just home to home, apartment to apartment, in Moywood, in the different housing authority areas, and just hand them out and talk to them face to face about this issue? And sometimes I think that's what we miss. We miss the obvious. That we concentrate on say, Facebook and social media sites like that, that we just need to get out and speak to people. Go door to door, get on the street, give them flyers, and just say, hey, you need to be careful. We care about your kids. We care about you as a person. Please go down 20 extra feet to the crosswalk here, to the signal, and move across that way. Don't take a risk of losing your life because of it. And on 10th Street, right there in front of the campus, we've also made hopefully some really great improvements to the pedestrian movement.
On that same note, the long-awaited Evans Street extension, do you have a date to start on that?
We don't have a date on that. The next project that DOT has, well, first of all, we got to finish Dickinson. Well, they got to finish Dickinson. It's a whole separate situation. That project kind of stopped right there in the middle because of a contractor issue. But also, Allen Road seems to be the project that NCDOT has as the top priority moving forward. I would suspect that we could be within the next year that NCDOT would be in a period of moving forward with the Allen Road extension project and 4-lane on that. Evans is right there with it. It's been identified as a priority. It's been designed. It's just waiting to move forward with the funding.
One of the issues I think for any city growing, and we're going to a big city, is transportation. you have a public transportation system for the city, but you also have East Carolina. If Chapel Hill, the town of Chapel Hill, Carver, and the UNC formed to make one system, so you don't have so much duplication. Gainesville, Florida, University of Florida is there, one system. Also, we have an airport in Kinston, we have an airport in Greenville, we have an airport in Newbern, we have an airport in Jacksonville, and we wonder why we don't have good, somebody has to take the lead to bring these together so that you have one system that will serve the greater good. So that might seem, so the city needs to take some leadership. I was there, we worked, the opposition to merging the transit system was the opposition from the university.
I tell you what, it sounds like to me you've been looking at my calendar because one of the first meetings I had after being sworn in as city manager, I think the following week, is I had a meeting with ECU, and we talked about two things. One was the movement of those little darn robots across 10th Street. Okay. So we're working with ECU right now to create another loop that will allow the things to more safely and more efficiently move around the city. But what we also talked about, which really has legs, I'm not just sitting here telling you it was just a conversation about what is, but it was a conversation about two shared routes with ECU that we would work in a partnership with. We've already got it designed, we've got it ready. We're looking for a way to put it into motion where we would do exactly what you said. Now, will it be 100% integrated? It won't be 100% integrated, but it will be much more integrated than it is right now. And it's the first step to talk about what you are talking about.
It's like the university money. No
Yeah, there you go. That's right. Not beyond a shadow of a doubt.
That is system and not so much.
That beyond a shadow of a doubt. Oh,
All right.
this is all right. I got it.
Thank you very much.
The winner of the Winner Heart, there are 4 cars left, and $828 is the big pot.
Dig deep. Deep into the bowl.
We just need the last 4 digits.
7360.
7360.
7,200. How many did we sell?
Randy bought a whole pocket full.
Yeah, 740 to 800.
7360. Yep.
I got my readers on.
Do we have a 7360?
I got 7375.
Oh, yes.
Told you should come back.
All right, come on down.
Swoop in.
You got a 1 in 4 chance. You could still lose it. Hey, the pot grows. And before we wrap things up for today, let's do the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, 1.
Is it the truth?
2.
Is it fair to all concerned?
3.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And 4.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Service to the city. Well done. Liam's not like you. Usually 751 people.